desktop. Oh,
Oh,
there
there
we
you
go.
go.
Right. Okay, well, we'll get started. And we are recording, so if anybody rolls in late, we can always send them the link after. For those of you who are here, we will send you the link after as well as any other links that I say that I'm going to send you in this meeting. So no need to take notes. So I have a little bit of a presentation here that I'll go through. There's also a video that we'll watch midway. And then at the end, we'll have a question and answer period. My name is Emma. I am the founder of ArtSpot. I'm also an artist. And we also have Christine here. Say hi, Christine. She is our Vancouver city lead. And we also have Chantal in here, who's hidden away eating soup, but she is our Calgary team and she's in here as well. So Christine's going to help me host, let people in as they come, as well as help me with the Q&A at the end of it. All right, so the purpose of this information session is to just give you guys a little bit of information about ArtSpot, who we are, the Under $100 Art Show, MarketSpot, our new expansion into Vancouver and Edmonton, go over some artist opportunities that we have coming up, as well as annual opportunities, some that are missed already, but the type of stuff that we do and will continue to do. And if we have time, depending on how slow I talk. I do have some like tips and tricks on how to strengthen your application and what we're looking for artists for certain events as well. So starting with all of our Instagram handles. So ArtSpot YYC is the OG. That was our first one. It's our kind of largest base and following. Then the Under $100 Art Show Instagram account we launched last year with our expansion into Edmonton and Vancouver. And then MarketSpot.ca is the sister company to ArtSpot, which I will get into in more detail. And then the ArtSpot YVR, ArtSpot YEG, and Under $200 Art Show are all new accounts that we introduced just in the last few months with our expansion into Edmonton and Vancouver. So the city Instagram accounts have a lot of information on local opportunities. Obviously, the Under $100 Art Show is exclusively Under $100 Art Show information, but that account services all three cities. And then the Under $200 Art Show is primarily Calgary right now, because that's really the only place that we're doing it right now. MarketSpot.ca is Calgary based, but we have opportunities across Canada. My long-winded Instagram explanation. All right, so what is ArtSpot? ArtSpot started as a grassroots initiative in 2008 to promote emerging artists. So I am from Ottawa originally, and when I moved out to Calgary, when I was 18 years old, I really struggled to find my own art community. So I didn't go to post-secondary school, and that probably would have been a lot easier for me to find my people, but I really had a hard time trying to find my community, places where I could exhibit. I would kind of wander into galleries, and that was out of my reach and not for me, but without knowing the alternative and emerging scene or having gone to school or have any connection with the art scene, I was really struggling. So I decided, by my early 20s, I was like, if I build it, they will come. So I rented a heritage home in the neighborhood of Connaught, which is just off 17th Avenue in Calgary. And I renovated the main floor into a gallery and I moved in upstairs. So that's where ArtSpot was born. I was lucky to collaborate with some connected individuals right off the bat, some university students who rented the space for their own art show. So that really helped me launch the space and connect with other creatives. I started slowly throwing my own group exhibitions in the space, which grew slowly. Learned a lot, learned what not to do, learned the hard way. But over time, some of my annual events outgrew the small home gallery space, and we had to find other venues to support the growth. I'm sure you guys can guess one of these events is the Under $100 Art Show. So that actually did begin in my house in a small little gallery space, which actually just existed in two rooms. So now ArtSpot, the Under $100 Art Show, is coming up on its 18th year in Calgary. So a little bit of history of that. We ran the show in the ArtSpot house for 5 years. Then we needed a larger space. We did it in a pop-up shop on 17th. We tried it at different venues I think we brought it back to the house in year 7. By the 8th year, it was the last time, it was the first time I was in an outside venue and we never went back to the house. By year 9, we were in a warehouse. And last year, the event occupied nearly 30,000 square feet of exhibition space in Calgary. It's really become like its own beast. So there's Art Spot and all of our initiatives, but the Under $100 Art Show is very much its own entity. Last year, over 5 cities, we sold $660,000 worth of art, and we're anticipating even more growth in 2025. Um, this is kind of like a timeline. So in 2014, ArtSpot teamed up with an organization called Market YYC Association, and we formed MarketSpot. So MarketSpot is a collective of hundreds of small businesses. So where ArtSpot is focused largely on visual art and art shows, MarketSpot focuses on makers and markets, pop-up shops, etc. So over the years, MarketSpot has evolved and grown. We have a nonprofit that promotes creatives through markets and community events. We have a retail business where we have local stores that feature over 80% handmade items and original art. We just closed one of our stores, so we're down to one in Calgary, but often we pop up seasonally as well in other cities. There was one year that we were in 7 pop-up shops in Western Canada. So we've been in Vancouver, Victoria, um, surrounding areas there as well. Edmonton, Winnipeg, trying to think where else those pop-up shops were, but we like to get around. So it's a good opportunity for artists that are not necessarily in our 3 operating cities. And we also have an e-commerce website for MarketSpot that features 100% handmade items and 100% Canadian goods. So I'll circle back to discuss MarketSpot later on, but in the timeline, 2014, that's where we started MarketSpot. And then 2017, I moved out of the ArtSpot house gallery and just continued to throw the events at larger venues. So today, ArtSpot has expanded into a multifaceted business that promotes the arts. Not only do we throw art shows of all kinds and all sizes, but we work as an agency to connect artists with buyers, paid gigs, and more. So basically, people just come to me often with all kinds of requests, commissions, lots of commission requests, people wanting murals, people looking for artists for live paintings. And then I use my network to pair them with the right artists. In 2025, after the successful expansion of the Under $100 Art Show into Vancouver and Edmonton, we just announced that we are continuing our operations in all 3 cities. So this means that outside of the Under $100 Art Show, we'll be hosting a variety of themed group exhibitions, exciting pop-ups, and growing our network to be able to provide new opportunities year-round in Calgary, Vancouver, and Edmonton. So far this year, starting in Calgary, we did a mini showcase of the Under $200 Art Show as part of Chinook Blast. That was in January. Then in Edmonton in March, we did a themed group exhibition called the Dino Love Art Show, and that was also in partnership with the Night of Artists Art Walk. And in March, we just finished, or no, April, that's April 5th it was. We just finished a group exhibition in Vancouver. It was called the Cat Love Art Show. It was incredible. And we're coming up on the Love Show in Calgary on May 10th. So these are just some examples, like the Love Show was an annual event, but Dino Love Show, Cat Love Show, these are just random themed group exhibitions that we came up with to do. So on top of our annual events, we just kind of come up with ideas and do them. So you guys missed the boat on those ones, but that's the type of events that we'll be continuing to offer as time goes on in these cities. So now I will go through our events in a little bit more detail, our recurring events, and then I will move on to chat about some opportunities for artists. So ArtSpot holds many events throughout the year, the largest being the Under $100 Art Show. This show currently happens over 2 weekends in Calgary every December. It's always the first Thursday, Sunday, twice, basically. We also just introduced the Under $200 Art Show to Calgary, which we piloted for the first time last year. For those of you who are not familiar with the Under 100 or the Under $200 Art Show, I will just give you guys a quick run through. We have 100 artists per weekend. Everyone slashes their prices down under $100 for this event. So it's a massive liquidation sale of original artwork. Just like any other industry, it's just a sale. Right after the sale's done, prices go back to normal. So the idea of the show is that what you lose in the discount of the large pieces that you submit, you will make up for in the volume of smaller items, prints, accessories, your regular priced artwork, basically. Most artists in Calgary average about 2,000 for the 4 days, with our top selling artists selling around 7,000. At the under $200 art show last year, our top selling artist sold nearly 10,000. Artist attendance is not required at these events. It's just a drop and go format. But we do ask that you volunteer for 3 hours at some point during the event. So some of the volunteer roles include drop off, setup. During the event, we have rehang, wrapping, helping on the door, gift shop, or pile master, which is basically customer service. You're taking art out of people's hands and creating little piles for them so they don't have to carry it around. We also have positions during teardown. And for artists who are, a ways out of town or not interested in volunteering during the show, we do have online duties available. On top of that, each artist is also asked to contribute one large piece. So the reason that we do this is because that's what makes the show so popular. That really hooks people and gets them in the door. So once we've gotten the people in the door and lured them with these big pieces, then they just buy up all the regular price pieces as well. So with that big piece, questions that we often get is, does it have to be like the same as my other pieces? No, the answer is no. You can put in any sort of big piece. So whether it be a old piece from collections ages ago, or maybe you've thought of a way that you can do a big piece fast and keep the prices down. Those things all count. We also do make some exceptions for it if it's just not possible. Like if you're like an encaustic or an embroidery artist and it's just like not feasible at all, we will make exceptions for it. But it is contributing that to the show really does help. So it's encouraged. So for the fact that in the under $100 art show, you're offloading so much artwork, you don't have to be there. It really makes it for a very desirable show to take part in, even with the price cap. Some artists are very adverse to this idea, and they make sure to let me know on social media as often as they can. To them, I say, just don't do it. This is not a show for everybody. This is a show for the type of artists who, A, have hundreds of pieces to unload, or B, have a collection that makes sense for this price point, right? If you make oil paintings that take you 100 hours per piece and you only do originals, not prints, it's not a show for you. And that's okay. I just hope that people don't hate on it for the people that it is a lifeline for, right? Many of our artists have really come to depend on the show, myself included. I sell more art at the show than it would take me years to sell. I think I sold like 80 pieces last season. So it also offers like a real sense of belonging and encouragement to all of the artists involved. There's something really special about coming together every year and, for the common goal of selling art. I work professionally in the arts full time, and never in my entire life have I seen people like run in like Black Friday in the 80s and go crazy just to buy original art. It is like very encouraging and something you don't see every day. So it really is a special experience. The application dates are now open, or not open, they're announced when we're doing them for the 2025 season. So starting with Vancouver, June 15th to July 15th is the application date. So they're open for 1 month. Edmonton is July 15th to August 15th. And finally, Calgary is August 15th to September 15th. So at this point, because the under 200 show is still kind of in a pilot stage, we are still just running that invite only. So there's not an invitation. There's not an open application to the under 200 show at this time. It was successful last year, but we're still ironing out some kinks, figuring out when the right time to do it is. Last year, we did all 5 shows back to back, and it was insane. My team was skeletons by the end of it. So we're spreading it out a little bit more this year, and we're actually going to try the under $200 art show in October. So we're going to like totally take it out of the season, make it its own thing. And while we're still testing it out, we're just taking our best-selling artists in Calgary from the under 100 and moving them up. And this also allows us to move some people out of the category to allow for new artists to get in. So currently our success rate, just the amount of space that we have from artists who apply is not great. I think we had 360 something applications last year, and we've got room for like about 200. So we have to say no to like 160 artists, and a lot of them are like completely decent artists that I would accept if we had the room, right? So this just allows us to cycle new artists in by doing it this way. But long term, we are hoping to bring this event to the other cities. But right now, we're just building the following with the under 100, getting people hooked, and then we will introduce the new series in the future. So another event that we do is called the Love Show. We ran the Love Show for 11 years, but we haven't brought it back since pre-COVID. This is a Calgary-based show. It's a group exhibition that explores the theme of love. In the past, the event was a masquerade. It was like a nighttime event, a cabaret. It was very much performance-based. This year, we're doing it a little bit differently. We are still having the masquerade cabaret style event, but we're doing it as a private event on May 9th for 100 guests. So we have this beautiful but kind of smallish venue for the show. So we're just inviting artists and our mailing list to attend. So the group exhibition will be on display. We'll have pop-up performances on, it's like a 3-floor old house. It's called Canopy Art and Wellness in Calgary. So all of the art in the show is one by one, so we can fit in a lot of artists. So the Friday night, yeah, we'll have all 3 floors open with different activations on each floor, dance, burlesque, live music. We have card readings, love potions, pop-up food and drink stations, and more. If anyone's interested in attending this event, you are welcome to send me an email and I will send you a private link to get a ticket. And then on Saturday, we have the public showcase of the art show inside the venue, and we're doing an arts market outside the venue with live music, and this portion of the event is free to attend. So I'm super excited to bring this back. This is also a test for our organization to create kind of like a higher end, experience-based art event that I'm hoping we can introduce more things like that that are, yeah, like a higher price ticket, but people can experience art in more of like an interactive, hands-on way. We also throw an incredible event in the summer called Expressival. We skipped it last year, but we're exploring bringing it back this summer. It feels like the summer's already over, even though it hasn't started. So I'm not sure if we'll get to it, but um, it's just like a really cool event, and I know it will be coming back, if not this season, potentially in the fall, potentially next spring. So it's a massive arts market and it's experience based. So all the participating artists have to have an offering for the public to experience. Things like live art, demos, workshops, community art pieces, performances. Those are all types of things that we've seen in past years. So our goal is to make this event accessible to all artists. So we have a pay what you can model for participating. The only rule is that you have to show up with something to offer and share. So this event is very special to me because after years of doing the under $100 art show, and like I mentioned, it being so hard to get into, and I find myself really focusing on what's sellable and, what are good marketable artists. It's kind of not why I got into this in the first place. So I really wanted to like get back to sharing art as just an experience and as our passion. And it really doesn't matter if you sell anything or not, and just connect with your community. So it was a really interesting and impactful event. We did it for 2 years in Calgary, and I look forward to bringing it back. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to let you guys watch this 8-minute video that shows you, a visual example of some of the events that I talked about. And then, oh, I think there's also, I will just mention this because it's not going to make sense because I haven't said anything about it yet. ArtSpot also last year did a lot of like really fun, creative Halloween events. We renovated a haunted house. I managed the curation and builds of this immersive Halloween festival. So it was a really cool opportunity to hire some of our artists and to encourage our artists to get out of their boxes and try, more installation 3D art, which a lot of them hadn't done before. So in this recap of last year, this video, you'll see some Halloween stuff. So that's what that's about. Yes, we will. I won't get into it much longer on that, but you will see. And where is it now? So Chrome, here we are. Can you see it? Thumbs up. Yep, good. Let me know if this, Christine, if this volume's not working for any reason, okay?
I love being a part of this show. I've met some amazing artists. I've met some incredible people. And overall, it's just a good way for people to get eyes on my work.
It's very special for me. I am always very excited to apply that show because it's a very, very big show and it's really great for the artist.
It's just a really fun experience to come and do Under 100 every year.
Love art, love the artists. It's just such a good, positive vibe. Yeah, and every year seems to be almost better than the last.
no one's going to understand your experience as much as another artist will. And sometimes you need that connection and that community from those other people when you're having harder days or when you're stuck with something or you need a resource. And getting experience selling and seeing what kind of work sells. Like, it was so valuable for me to have that validation that, you know, the new style I was moving into was resonating with people.
You get to play around with things that you probably wouldn't if you felt like you had to make something for a specific audience, because there's so many different people that come.
It's like nothing else, you know. It definitely was my turning point, for sure, is starting with the $100 art show. It gave me the confidence when I started selling like mass amounts in one weekend, right? Where we're usually peddling social media, we're trying a little market here and there.
And the community is amazing and everyone is super kind, and it's a very safe space. So you get to bring all of your art there in a way that you don't feel very vulnerable, really. You feel supported.
Because I know it's really difficult sitting in the studio or sitting in your own imagination, wondering if there's a spot or a place or a reason for your need to create. And I feel like the 100 Under 100 art show is the perfect platform for you to take that leap of faith for not only yourself, but for your work and for the world to be able to see the gift that you have inside your head.
So cute. Okay, I hope that volume was okay. Let me get back to this one. All right. That just gets me so emotional watching that video. So nice. Okay, so we talked about our events. You guys saw kind of a visual of what the events look like. So let's talk about our artist opportunities here. I don't know where there's like a better place to put that. So in terms of the artist opportunities, we have the under $100 art show. The applications are running starting in June until September for the different cities. The under $200 art show, which you have to currently work your way up through the under $100 art show, as we chatted about. Expressival, no date planned at this point, but keep your eyes peeled for that one because I have decided I want to bring it back. We just don't know what city's going to get it and when we're going to do it. But yeah, keep on following our socials for that one because it's bound to come back somewhere. Speaking of Vancouver specific opportunities, so we're opening a pop-up gallery right away, starting May 1st, in a container space called Junction Public Market. So this pop-up space will be open until the end of September. So it's a 5-month pop-up. We'll have an ongoing application throughout the summer. It's open now, and we plan to cycle new artists in throughout the season. I think we're aiming for about 10 to 15 artists at a time. It's not a very big container, so depending on how much stuff people bring, we'll know in the next couple weeks how many more artists that we can get in. But we're looking for artists with small, easy to sell items and like Vancouver items since the location is close to where cruise ships dock. So we want things that will attract tourists. We also have another themed group exhibition coming soon, which is not announced right now, but it's going to be called Puppy Love in Vancouver. So right after the Cat Love show, it was just such a huge success. We decided to put together another group exhibition with the animal theme, and we've secured a venue already. So we are just discussing what date. We're looking at dates in June, and hopefully we'll have the artist call launched in the next couple of weeks. So for that, we're just looking for dog art, any medium, any size, any price point. Same with Junction Public Market. There's no price cap on any of our shows, any of our events that we do, except for the under 100 and the under 200 show. So moving on to Edmonton, we have been exploring the idea of getting involved in the White Ab Art Walk this summer, or just doing another pop-up art show, but nothing is set in stone right now. So we did the Dino Love Art Show in partnership with the Night of Artists Art Walk at Bonnie Doon Center, and we find it very valuable to collaborate with other artist organizations as we grow our following. So if anybody has any ideas for us in terms of, you know, other art walks or organizations that we could collaborate with instead of just doing our own independent show somewhere, we love to collaborate. We think more is more all the time, never about competition. So let us know if you have any ideas. And I would like to do something again in Edmonton in the summer because we did purchase a bunch of construction fencing for the Dino Love show, and now we own them, so we can really pop up anywhere. And Calgary, we have a bunch of markets from May to September via MarketSpot. So, as I mentioned before, MarketSpot is like the sister company to ArtSpot. So, we have the retail store at the core. Sorry, I'm pausing for this. Okay, no, not important message. Downtown Calgary, and we have an ongoing application for that retail store. And we sell a lot of original art at that store actually, because the store services the like corporate clientele that work in the area. We also have markets inside the core mall. We're doing 3 of them Mother's Day week. We also have, I believe, 3 or 4 of them Stampede week inside the mall. The Mother's Day one is technically closed, but I do have a couple spots to fill each day. So if anyone did want to do the Mother's Day market at the core, shoot me an email and I can just book you personally. The Stampede market is open now to apply for. And we have outdoor markets on Stephen Avenue, 8th Ave downtown, every Thursday from May until September. And these markets are also still open to apply for. We're going to have an ongoing application throughout the summer. And we have the University District Market, the night markets. We've been doing that for about 5 years in Calgary as well. This is a very popular, very well-attended market. This one is technically full from May until September. It happens the last Wednesday of every month. But we do have an open application for the Christmas series of University District night markets. And those are open to apply for, and we have some spots left on those as well. So with all of these events, I recommend just try to do as many shows as you can because it does unlock the other opportunities, those like paid gigs and individual contracts that I talked about earlier. Meaning if you're an artist that's really present at our events and is eager to participate, then you're just kind of in the front of my mind when these opportunities pop up. So I try to hook up our artists as much as possible, but especially the ones that are really contributing to our community. And I just remember who you are, what kind of art you're making, you know, I'm up to date with your new collection. So it's just easier for me to remember in my very full mind when these opportunities come up, like who's doing what and who would be a good fit. So let's talk about MarketSpot a little bit more. We talked about the in-person events, but we also have marketspot.ca. So this was our COVID project. We decided to create an e-commerce website that addressed the many problems of online marketplaces, specifically marketplaces that claim to be handmade, Etsy. So people think they're getting a handmade item often when they're ordering from these sites, but really it's made overseas, you know, or it's just a branded resold product. So we wanted to address this and offer like full transparency for our customers when they're buying things online. We want to create a platform that not only features original items, but provides information into where the item was made, where the materials were sourced, and who made the item. So for customers wanting to support Indigenous makers or queer-owned business, we offer a badge system that allows you to filter your shopping to reflect some of these values that you may support. We also curate the products and companies on this platform to ensure that they're only the highest quality Canadian-made art and goods. So ArtSpot has a special filter on this website. So when you go under shop and see all of the ways that you can shop, filter by badge, there's a section called ArtSpot. So that's just all of our ArtSpot artists. And we have a special promotion coming up in June. It's ArtSpot month. So this means we get a dedicated album of art on the homepage. And we do vendor features of our artists on both the MarketSpot Instagram platform that has 20,000 followers and the ArtSpot platform that has 13,000 followers. And we also will be doing lots of features of the ArtSpot artists in our mailing list, which goes out to thousands of subscribers. And we've got a very good open rate for that as well. So if you guys are interested in this feature, I will send you an email about that. So it's like an application. You have to apply for the website. For artists, we don't allow prints. Every item on the website has to be an original. And yeah, we really look into like your process and how you make these products and with what, and you can assign different badges to it to talk about some of those details. Okay, so how much time do we have? I'm not going to go through these notes. I'll just go quickly through these notes in terms of what we're looking for artists, because I have a very long explanation, but I don't think we have that much time for it. I do want to do a bit of a Q&A as well. So basically for the under 100 show and for our group exhibitions, in the applications, it's either me looking through it or me and a group of other artists who have been doing the show for many years. So some of them are juried, some of them are not. Usually the smaller group exhibitions, it's just me or me and another ArtSpot team member. For the under 100 show, it is a group effort because there is so many applications. So what we're looking for is a cohesive perspective, meaning when I look through all of 10 items that you're able to upload, I want it to make sense, right? I want to know that after I look at those, I have an idea of what you're going to bring to the show. So it is nice to show variety and like the many different things that you can do, but somehow through some applications, if some people are showing sketches and paintings and mixed media, sometimes it all makes sense. And sometimes it looks like 14 different artists are submitting in one application. Now, I am an artist that does a million different types of things, right? So where it's important to show these things, what I really want to know is just what you plan on bringing to the show and like what your wall is going to look like, right? So a cohesive perspective sometimes stands out a little stronger than like big mismatched collections. Having a clear brand as well. So when we go to your Instagram and I can understand your style by scrolling down, that's helpful. If I go to your Instagram or website and it's mixed up with photos of your lunch and, you know, you and your besties on a Friday night, and I have to scroll down to 2022 to see where your art is, again, I really don't know what you want to submit in the show. So having a clear overall brand kind of goes with the cohesive perspective is helpful. Having marketable art is helpful, especially at the under $100 art show. So this art show is aiming to sell art. Some of our other theme group exhibitions, if we're not looking to sell art, like that's okay, you know, like if you want to just display or experiment with pieces and your goal is not to sell all of them, it's not as important. But for the under $100 art show, we are looking to sell, right? Given the fact that you're slashing your prices down, there is a cost to participate and there is a small commission. If it doesn't look like your work is sellable, I will not do that to you. I will not bring you in just to like waste your time or money. A professional presentation is also very important. Screenshots of your Instagram account do not cut it. You know, we don't need professional photos. You know, an iPhone photo, like any smartphone can take good enough photos for an application, but make sure it's well lit. Put it on a blank wall, you know, take it off of your studio table that's smeared with paint and crumpled up paper towel, you know, like take a little bit of care in how you're presenting it. It really does go a long way. And a wide variety of products and merchandise in your application is helpful. This doesn't, again, mean every style of art that you know how to do, but showing that you have variety can be helpful because artists who have paintings and then prints of their paintings and then Christmas ornaments, you know, it's these style of artists that tend to be very successful because there's so many different things and different price points to sell to make up for the discounted bid pieces. And then a unique collection. So basically, there are certain categories that get kind of saturated, right? Like fluid art, or last year we had a lot of watercolors. Last year in certain cities, we had a lot of collage, right? So we try to limit certain categories just so we're not like making everybody compete with each other because that's no fun. So being completely unique puts you in your own category. So that's helpful because I'm not like, oh, which one should I pick out of these three, right? I'm like, this person's stuff looks like nobody else's, and that makes it easy to accept. How to strengthen your application. Use good, clear photos. We talked about that. Have good supporting website and social media links. You don't need to have a website. You don't need to have an Instagram or Facebook, but if your application is not that strong and you've only put in like 3 photos, it's nice for me to like reference somewhere else because often the photos that you upload in my opinion, or another person on the jury's opinion, like aren't necessarily your strongest pieces, right? And then we'll go to your website and you're like, oh no, I get it. Okay, yeah, like this is actually really good, right? I wonder what they're coming with, and it'll pique our interest in a different way. So having those extra links does help. And stand out, like we talked about. Try not to compete in the other categories that everybody else is doing, and apply to our other events. So if you're volunteering at all of our other events, you know, I will want to include you where I can. Not only that, but I'll just have an idea of like, oh, like these pieces look weird, but I've seen them in person. So actually they're amazing. You know, like sometimes it doesn't translate well in the photos, but if I'm familiar with your work and you as an artist and I've seen them, like sometimes it will help. So that's it. That's all I got. I could keep talking about those type of things for a long time, but I think that's enough information for tonight. And Christine, do you want to go through the questions and see if there's anything that I haven't covered?
There aren't any questions. Someone just wanted us to move the video feed.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know how to do it, so.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, put them in there now, and we will give it a hot minute.
Oh, we have a question. When will the under 200 invitations be sent out?
That's a good question. It will have to go out in Calgary before probably July, realistically. I want to do it before the under $100 art show application goes out, so people know if they're in that one or if they have to apply for under 100 if they want to. So I'll do it in July.
Okay, so how many pieces do you typically have for under 100?
There's no limit to the amount of pieces that you can submit. It's really a volume game. So we encourage people to bring as many pieces as they can. So when artists are accepted into the Under 100 show, we have another orientation for new artists. And we also have an orientation every year for returning artists where we can get their feedback, what sold, what didn't sell. We do that first so that we can take some of that information into the orientation for new artists. So if you're accepted into the Under $100 art show, we do an orientation per city where we talk about all of these things, like how many pieces, how to wire your pieces, what sells, what doesn't, kind of the, things you should do, things you shouldn't do. So the short answer is as many as you can. And the long answer is we will go into that in great detail in another orientation to set you guys up for like the most success. We also have a mentorship program where we pair artists who are struggling up with returning artists so they can just have like one person to call or like one person to DM to be like, I really don't understand the inventory, help me. So it's a big show. And we have some rules, which can be a little daunting to new artists because often we have artists who've never participated in the show before or never a show like this. So we offer a lot of support and information like during the course of being accepted to Showtime.
I guess you sort of answered this right now, but someone wants to know, does all the art at the show need to be framed?
The only thing that needs to be framed is paper or like canvas boards. So as a general rule, we only allow framed pieces or stretched canvas. Like canvas does not have to be framed if it's stretched, but if it's a canvas board, it has to be framed. So we hang everything off S hooks on like grids, like off construction fencing. So like a little like sawtooth doesn't work. You know, you have to like cram the S hook in there. So we just recommend D-rings and galvanized wire. We go over this as well in our orientation, but if you want it in your artist section and it's a paper or a canvas board, put it in a frame. Otherwise, we still display it, but it ends up in our gift shop, which is where all of the like accessories and prints and unframed items go.
And then someone wants to know, for the Under 100 art show in Calgary, is it possible to choose which weekend works best for us?
We just assign people a weekend and then everybody emails me and says that doesn't work for me and then we change it. So originally, no, like you don't select it in your application, but we will accommodate it as best we can. We do try to like limit the different art categories per weekend, so that's why we just assign it one way. And then if you have to switch, like if there's only one glass artist per weekend and they can only do weekend 2, we'll ask the other one if they can do weekend 1. So after your assigned weekends, there is a little bit of back and forth moving. But yes, you can let us know that and we'll try to accommodate as best we can.
And then someone wants to know if you can go back to the slide with the dates for the events.
I don't think I even put the dates for the events in this, but let me see. Maybe maybe on my homepage I have it. Oh, I can't close this. Okay. It's it's a pinned post on the Instagram. But is it also in here? It was here somewhere. Let's see here. Where would I have put that? So under 200 is October 16th to 19th. Then we got, is it in here? Is it in here? Oh, here it is. Boom. There it is. So application dates are June 15th to July 15th, July 15th to August 15th for Edmonton, August to September Calgary, and then we have the under $200 art show the 16th to 19th. Then it goes Edmonton, Vancouver, Calgary.
If an artist participates in a show under 200 with paintings, could she continue with small things for a table in a show under 100?
Right now, wait, sorry, what was the question? Can they do more than one show in different cities?
I think someone's asking, so if they participate in under 200, can they then participate with smaller things in under 100?
No. Right now, even we could only do under 200 or under 100. So if you're invited to under 200 that and you decide to do it, that's the one. And the reason is because like we struggle getting all the artists in for under 100. So we don't allow 2 weekends and we don't allow under 200 versus under 100 because a big point that we even introduced under 200 was to try to be able to get more artists in. And right now, we did allow some of our team who were traveling to the cities participate in more than one event. And I would look at allowing an artist to do more than one city if we had the room for it. So last year we had the room for it in Vancouver and Edmonton. We had enough applicants to get around 100, but with the drops, like if we had room, we would allow someone to do 2 cities. But our goal is to be like entirely local and people just get to do one. That's like the most fair way to do it.
If we aren't accepted, are we still able to volunteer?
Yes.
Okay. Generally, generally, what size are the large sizes?
So I say like, you know what's big for you, right? So it just depends on your collection and what you're comfortable with. I think as an example, we say like over 2 by 2 or over 2 by 3, but it's really what you're comfortable with, right? So we're loose with this particular rule because we know it's just like not feasible for everybody, right? But if somebody comes with a lot of big pieces, I will sort of remember that for their contribution to the show when thinking about like accepting again. You know, it does just allow for like more sales for that artist usually. So yeah, whatever's big for you, but we say kind of like, you know, around that big or so.
How do you qualify for the under 200 show?
You just have to sell a lot at the under 100 show. So at this point, it's like people who sell kind of around $4,000 or more are eligible for the under 200 show, but not always. Sometimes we've invited people with like less sales because we know that they'll produce like different pieces for the under 200, or people ask me from under 100 they'd really like to give it a try, so we've allowed them in who haven't hit that, but that's kind of around the threshold, like 335 to 4,000 to get into the under 200.
And then you mentioned you take a commission fee. How much is that?
It's 10%. So we keep the commission very low because you guys are already discounting your work. So, and we have not raised that commission in many, many years, and I'm not planning to. Right now, it is about $200 to participate, plus the 10% commission, and that includes all staffing. So, you know, if you think about the price of a 4-day market, averaging about $500 usually, and the fact that you don't have to be there and the value for your time, it actually is a pretty like lower end participation fee comparatively.
I'd second that. It's well worth it. I participated last year in Vancouver, and it was an amazing show. And yeah, I don't think I've ever sold that much art in one weekend. It was great. So
For year one too, it's going to be even this year.
yeah. For the under 100, can we sell things that aren't originals? Example, print stickers, button pins.
Absolutely, yes. And it's items like that that really will like carry you for the discounted big pieces. So for instance, last year, our, or no, this was the year before. She got moved up into under 200 after that. But we had one artist who sold like 350 unique items. And a lot of those were like prints, stickers, keychains, like smaller accessories. But think of how, like, that's so much stuff.
And that's it for right now.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank all of you guys for taking the time to learn about ArtSpot. And I also wanted to mention that I am always available for a personal DM. So if anybody had any feedback for me or any ideas about what you'd like to see in your city, please let us know. We're really like built on community and we're artist run. And I pride myself for our growth as a collective force. So yeah, hopefully this appealed to you and I look forward to connecting with more artists. One more question?
Yeah, we have another one. Can we do live art at the under 100 if we choose to attend the event?
No. So the reason that you cannot do that is because if we allow all artists, sorry, I'm like there's an echo. Someone turn their microphones off. Christine? Is it you?
Could be.
Test. Okay, sorry. The sound of my own voice will like lead me to madness. Yeah, if we allowed every artist to come participate in that way, there would be no room for people, number one. And number two, because there's 100 artists, right? So if we let everybody come down to, you know, promote their stuff or stand in front of their wall or do live art, it would change the vibe of the show, right? This isn't like a traditional market where you're standing in front of your wall. Everyone who's down there is hustling everybody's art, right? So during your volunteer shift, you are running. And if you show up and you're like, I'm just here to help, we will put you to work. There is like no shortage of people needed at all times, especially with rehang. So the best that you can do to support the show is to be down there and work and to just like keep getting those pieces out on the floor. We can never keep up with the amount of pieces selling versus the pieces coming out of storage back on the wall. So it is more valuable to us to have artists contribute in that way as a volunteer, helping customers, helping rehang, than to be doing live art. But we do love live art at all of our other group exhibitions. So yeah, I do like that and everything else, but under one is just a special one.
So someone just wants to know where they can find this recording.
I'm going to send this out to everybody after, and then I will add it to the link tree for a while, which will be on all of the different Instagram accounts. So you guys can find it there, but I'll send it to you guys all as well.
Very unhappy.
I'll send you some information on marketspot.ca about the special artist feature that we're doing there. And if I forgot to send you anything, just respond to the email and I can send you specific information about any of the things that we talked about. All right, well, I will say goodbye now. Thank you guys again, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future, and keep making art.
Thank you.
Bye. Christine, you're going to have to end this recording and